So my name is Megan McGettigan, and this is my community project. My community is Absecon, New Jersey. Here's a picture of Absecon Bay, and the city line is Atlantic City. So here's some information about the income, education, and housing of our residents from the United States Census Bureau. We have a population of 8,442 people. We have 6.6% of persons in poverty. Our total housing units are 3,507, and we have 725 businesses, 589 veterans. And then here's our male median income and our female median income. For the sex and age of our residents, our male to female ratio is pretty close. Our largest age group is 65 and over, followed by 45 to 54 years old. For the race of our residents, my community is primarily white, followed by Black or African American. Then we have Asian residents, followed by Asian Indian, and then other race. So we're not a very diverse community. For Hispanic and Latino ethnicity, um, we have 168 Mexican residents, 116 Puerto Rican, and 23 Cuban, and 314 other. Compared to our whole community, it's a small portion of our over 8,000 residents. We have 7,749 residents who are not Latino. For the crime rate of my community, this is from 2006 to 2015 from citydata.com. Absecon scored at 173 for crime rate, which fell about 2 times smaller on US average crime. But crime rates in Absecon are higher than 61.1% of other US cities. Overall, in the past 5 years, there's been an overall decrease in crime. And then I did a crime comparison. So here's Absecon scoring at 172.8, and then we are outside the urban area of Atlantic City. So Atlantic City is almost double our rate of crime. And that's just something that my community is aware of, I suppose. Next, for education, this is also from City Data. This is Absecon compared to New Jersey. Absecon is the purple color. So we fell above for the state equivalent for high school or equivalent, and then we're pretty close with the education of our residents with bachelor's degrees compared to the state. This is the breakdown of poverty in my community. Our residents with an income below the poverty line are 9.23%. And I was surprised with these findings from City Data. Our Black residents score much higher than the rest of New Jersey, as well as our Asian residents compared to New Jersey as a whole. And then this is the religion of our community. So this large category is none. I suppose people are non-identifying. And then our next largest category is Catholic. These other percents are all other denominations of Christianity. So we have mainline Protestant, Black Protestant, Evangelical, or Orthodox. This is just what I gathered from City Data. Other religions weren't really given. Okay. Next, for formal institutions, we have Atlanticare Regional Medical Center. This is a very large employer for my community, as well as Atlantic County as well. Our next formal institution is the FAA Tech Center. This is the Federal Aviation Center. This is another really large employer of my community as well as Atlantic County. So we have air traffic controllers and other aviation people from all over the nation come here to do training, which is pretty cool that it happens so close to my community. Then next, I listed Atlantic City casinos as both formal and informal institutions because a large number of our residents work for Atlantic City or they work in the casinos. I personally have worked in the casinos. I have other family members who do as well. And then it's also informal because these are beaches. This is where community members go to the beach. And this is where we dine, gamble, or go into the city for nightlife. Another formal institution is Holy Spirit High School. My town does not have a public high school. I'm not really sure why. So if you want to attend public school, you have to go to the next town over, which is Pleasantville. Um, so a lot of residents in Absecon do go to Holy Spirit. I went to Holy Spirit, but it is expensive and it is considered private. It's about $8,000 a year. Next for informal institutions is our Absecon Bike Path. We have a lot of community members meet here to walk their dogs, run, jog. We also have football fields over here, and then we have softball fields towards this end as well. So it's a area where a lot of people come together to be active outside, especially right now with the COVID pandemic going on. There's been a lot of people at the park, including myself. Um, Another informal institution is Heritage Park. You can take the bike path to get here. We have concerts in the park in the summertime. Our police department is located within the same complex. There's a lake here. Some people fish here. People bring their children to play on the playground or feed the ducks. So it's a lot of things where people get together outside. Another informal institution is St. Elizabeth Ann Seton. This is our local Catholic church. My family members are members of this church, and my grandparents are actually founders of Elizabeth Ann Seton as well. And here's a map of my town. So Absecon is here. And just for reference, Route 30 is what we would take to enter Atlantic City going down this way. And then here's the next town over. This is Pleasantville. This is where if you wanted to go to local high school, you would go over to the next town. Okay, next is environmental mapping of Absecon compared to New Jersey. So this is from the EPA EJS screening. So this is Absecon, the green, compared to the state, which is orange. I guess I was kind of surprised with these findings, especially with these larger ones like hazardous waste and wastewater discharge indication. Then this is the same mapping, but the green is Absecon compared to the USA percentile. So we scored a little bit above higher here with RPM proximity. And our wastewater discharge indicator is very high, the 75 percentile. So is this a good community? Ohio State fact sheet broke down what makes a good community under these categories. So I thought overall my community fits these categories. Absecon is relatively safe. I feel very fortunate that I grew up here and I've lived here my whole life. That things are pretty safe. Crime is relatively low or mostly clean, although I will look up more about the EPA mappings. For goods and services, we do have affordable shopping places, especially for groceries, but we don't have a lot of options for other goods and services, such as if you had like a different diet or wanted a variety of different foods, restaurants. Um, I can say that for relations that bind citizens together, that I do know my neighbors know who I am. I can recognize people in the community. Um, I would say for the most part, people will greet one another. For commonality of values and goals, I think this really falls into our church members and our church community. Although I think I can make the argument that local restaurants and local bars also have a commonality of values and goals, um, especially because we have a lot of fundraisers at local bars and restaurants. I can say that my community is pretty predictable. Um, uh, the day to day, we don't have a lot of natural disasters or really unusual traffic patterns or anything like that. For the whole person principle, I would say my community does score with this. Um, you can see local town workers out in local restaurants and bars. They're also a part of community churches. So you do get to see local people in work and then also as their authentic self or their community self. For recognized place in social structure, I agree with this because I think most people in my community either follow the trade of their family or they go away to school or they leave the area or the state completely, which was the trend in my high school. I think we score the lowest on opportunities. We don't have a lot of opportunities to start a new business and things like that. And homogeneity, yes, my community is um, very similar. There's not a lot of diversity. It doesn't match the other urban areas that are close to us, such as Atlantic City. How to be a better community? I think if we had a public high school, this would also make us more diverse. Our taxes are also high compared to surrounding towns, and this is all really linked with our public high school because our high school in Pleasantville, that town does not pay as high as us. And then I think we have opportunity for more jobs and growth at Absecon Bay as well, which is just my own personal thought. And then these are my references. So thank you very much for your time.